Everyone assumes a $500 boot means quality. Full grain leather. Goodyear welt. Made by craftsmen who've been doing this for generations. You're not just buying a boot. You're buying into a legacy, a philosophy, a promise that this thing will outlast you if you take care of it. That's the story these brands have been selling for 100 years, and for a long time, it was true. It's not anymore. Right now, some of the most respected heritage boot brands in America and Europe are in free fall, cutting corners, swapping materials, and banking on the fact that you'll never flip the boot over and look closely enough to notice. The $500 heritage boot disaster isn't coming. It's already here. And if you've bought a pair in the last 3 to 5 years, what I'm about to tell you is going to be difficult to hear. I've been tracking the decline of heritage boot brands for over 2 years now, pulling apart soles, testing leather thickness with calipers, running flex tests on outsoles, and most importantly, talking to the cobblers and resole specialists who see what's actually happening to these boots after 12 months of real wear. These are the people with no marketing budget and no brand loyalty. Just a bench, a stack of worn-out boots, and a very clear picture of which companies are still building things properly and which ones are surviving on reputation alone. I've also dug into corporate ownership records, tracked private equity acquisitions across the footwear industry, cross-referenced tannery sourcing through supply chain databases, and read hundreds of detailed reviews from communities like Reddit's r Goodyear welt and the Style Forum boot threads, places where people document stitching irregularities, leather quality shifts, and batch-to-batch inconsistencies with the obsessive precision of forensic analysts. The pattern that emerges is not subtle. It's systemic. And it comes down to 5 specific problems that are rotting the heritage boot industry from the inside. Once you understand these 5 things, you'll never look at a $500 boot the same way again. Problem number 1. Private equity is gutting these brands from the inside out. This is the root cause behind almost everything else on this list. Over the past 15 years, a wave of investment firms and holding companies have acquired heritage boot brands, names you recognize and trust, and implemented the same playbook every single time. Step 1. Acquire the brand based on its reputation and emotional equity. Step 2. Identify every possible cost reduction in manufacturing. Step 3. Maintain or increase retail pricing because the brand name can absorb it. Step 4. Extract maximum profit before consumer perception catches up to product reality. It's a private equity arbitrage on your trust, and it's happening across the industry. When a heritage brand gets acquired, the first things to go are always the most expensive inputs. The leather, the sole materials, the labor. A boot that was being built by a team earning skilled craftsman wages in a domestic factory gets quietly shifted to a reduced workforce assembling with pre-cut overseas components. The brand will still say, made in USA or made in England, because final assembly happens domestically. But the tannery that supplied the leather for 40 years? Replaced. The cork bed that used to be natural cork? Now a blended composite. The welt that was hand-stitched? Machine-stitched with synthetic thread. None of this shows up on the product page. None of it gets mentioned in the marketing. The boot looks the same in the box. It just doesn't perform the same on your feet. And by the time you find out, 14 months in, when the sole separates or the leather cracks in a way full-grain leather shouldn't, the return window is long gone. Problem number 2. The leather downgrade nobody is talking about openly. Leather is the single most important material in a heritage boot, and it's where the most significant cost-cutting is happening. Here's how it works. Premium full-grain leather from top-tier American tanneries. Horween in Chicago, Wickett and Craig in Pennsylvania, SB Foot in Red Wing, Minnesota. Costs the manufacturer significantly more per hide than corrected grain or bonded leather from overseas suppliers. We're talking anywhere from $8 to $15 per square foot for premium domestic full grain, versus $2 to $4 for corrected grain imports. On a single pair of boots requiring approximately 4 to 6 square feet of leather, that's a cost difference of $30 to $60 per pair. When you're producing 200,000 pairs a year, that difference is millions of dollars in annual savings. So what happens? The brand quietly shifts tannery sourcing. They stop specifying Horween Chromexcel or Wickett and Craig harness leather by name in their product descriptions. The language becomes vague, premium leather or quality full grain without a named tannery. A cobbler in Portland I spoke with, someone who's been resoling boots for over 20 years, told me he can tell the difference the moment he touches the leather. The older boots from these brands had a richness, a density, a hand feel that spoke to the quality of the hide. The newer production runs feel thinner, drier, and more uniform in a way that suggests heavy correction and finishing to mask an inferior hide. He showed me 2 pairs of the same model from the same brand, one from 2016 and one from 2023. The 2016 pair had developed a deep, complex patina after years of wear. The 2023 pair, after just 8 months, had surface cracking along the vamp and heel counter. Same model, same price, completely different leather. Problem number 3. Construction shortcuts hidden beneath the surface. The Goodyear welt is the holy grail of boot construction for a reason. When done properly, it creates a boot that can be resoled multiple times, extending its life by decades. The keyword there is properly. What several heritage brands are now doing is a version of the Goodyear welt that looks identical from the outside, but is fundamentally compromised internally. Instead of a full leather welt strip stitched to both the upper and the insole with a separate stitch attaching the outsole, some brands have moved to a synthetic welt material, cheaper, less durable, and more prone to cracking over time. Others are using what cobblers call a faux welt, a cosmetic welt stitched to the outsole for appearance, while the actual upper to sole bond is cemented. The boot looks welted. It has visible stitching along the sole edge. But when a cobbler tries to resole it, they discover the cemented construction underneath, and the boot becomes either extremely difficult or impossible to resole properly. According to multiple resole specialists who've posted detailed breakdowns on our Goodyear welt, this practice has increased dramatically in the last 5 years, particularly among brands in the $300 to $500 range. Additionally, the internal components are being downgraded. Shanks, the structural reinforcement between the insole and outsole that provides arch support and prevents the boot from collapsing, are getting thinner. Some brands have switched from steel shanks to fiberglass, or even plastic. Cork filling, which traditionally molds to the wearer's foot over time and is a major part of why Goodyear welted boots become more comfortable with age, is being replaced with cheaper composite fillers that compress faster and don't contour. If you're watching this and starting to question that expensive pair sitting in your closet, good. That skepticism is valuable. These are the kind of details the industry buries, and if this channel is helping you cut through the noise, consider subscribing. We tear apart these claims every week so you don't have to learn the hard way. Problem number 4, the heritage tax. This is the psychological lever that holds the entire system together. You're not paying $500 for a boot. You're paying $500 for a photograph of a factory from 1923. For a story about a founder who hand-stitched his first pair by candlelight. For sepia-toned marketing copy about generations of craftsmanship that implies continuity between the original product and the one in your hands today. That continuity is, in many cases, an illusion. The founder is long dead. The factory has been modernized, relocated, or partially outsourced. The ownership has changed hands 2, 3, sometimes 4 times. The craftsmen in the old photographs aren't the people making your boots. In some cases, the machines in the old photographs aren't even the machines making your boots. But the price reflects the story as if nothing has changed. According to a 2023 analysis by a footwear industry consultant published in Sourcing Journal, the average retail markup on heritage positioned boots has increased by approximately 35% over the past decade, while adjusted manufacturing costs have actually decreased due to the material and labor substitutions we've already covered. You're paying more for less and being told you're buying tradition. The heritage tax is the gap between what the brand was and what it is now, and you're the one filling it. Problem number 5. Let's talk about specific cases. Red Wing. And I say this as someone who owns multiple pairs of vintage Red Wings that I genuinely love. Red Wing's Iron Ranger, their flagship heritage model, retails at $350. Older production runs used SB foot leather from Red Wing's own tannery, full leather insoles, stacked leather heels, and a build consistency that cobblers praised as one of the best values in American footwear. Recent production runs have drawn increasing criticism. Reports across enthusiast forums document thinner leather, less consistent clicking. That's the process of selecting which part of the hide is used for which panel. And quality control issues, including uneven stitching and visible glue residue. Red Wing is still a better product than most of its competitors, but the trajectory concerns people who've been watching closely. The 2015 Iron Ranger and the 2024 Iron Ranger are not the same boot, despite carrying the same name and a higher price. Thursday boots deserves mention here too, though they occupy a slightly different space. Thursday positioned themselves as heritage quality at a disruptive price, initially around $200 for a Goodyear welted boot. The value proposition was strong early on, but as they've scaled, material sourcing questions have emerged. Their leather is sourced from tanneries that aren't named or specified at the level that brands like Grantstone or Parkhurst provide. The Goodyear welt on some models has been flagged by cobblers as having characteristics of a hybrid construction. Welted, but with cemented elements that complicate resoling. At their current pricing around $200 to $250, the expectation should be managed. But the marketing language, built to last a lifetime, creates an expectation the product doesn't consistently meet based on documented 2- and 3-year wear reports. But here's where it gets interesting, because not every heritage brand sold its soul. Some refused the private equity money. Some doubled down on materials while competitors were cutting. And they're still building boots the way these brands were supposed to. Grant Stone. This is a brand that sources leather almost exclusively from Horween and Charles F. Stead, two of the most respected tanneries in the world, and names those tanneries explicitly in every product listing. Their Goodyear welt construction uses a full leather welt, vegetable tanned leather insole, natural cork filling, and a steel shank. The Edward boot retails at $360. When independent cobblers have torn these apart for inspection, the consensus has been remarkable. The internal construction rivals boots at $600 to $800. Grant Stone achieves this by running a direct-to-consumer model that eliminates the retail margin entirely. No department store counter. Most brands lose 30 to 40% to middlemen. That cost gets added before the product even reaches you. Some brands skip that system and reinvest into quality. Better materials, better construction, fewer defects. Some heritage names still stand strong today. Crockett & Jones is one of those rare examples. A factory in England running since the late 1800s. Still independent, still family-owned, still consistent. Their boots are not cheap by any measure, but the craftsmanship is visible in every detail. Thick leather uppers carefully selected from top tanneries. Durable soles built to be repaired, not replaced. Skilled hands, finishing each pair with precision. The kind of work machines cannot fully replicate. These are boots designed to last for years, not just look good for a few months. Cobblers still recommend them without hesitation, because they see what's inside after years of wear. And then there are newer brands doing things differently. Smaller operations with full transparency. Parkhurst is one of those names worth watching. A small American workshop focused on quality over scale. They show every step of their production process. From raw leather to finished boot, they name their suppliers and materials openly. Nothing hidden. Nothing vague. Their boots use proven construction methods. Strong stitching, solid welts, reliable outsoles. Production is slower. Inventory is limited, but quality control stays tight because of it. Now here's what's really happening in this industry. An identity shift that's been building for years. The original idea was simple. Pay more once and keep it for longer. But somewhere along the way that changed, prices stayed high, but quality slowly dropped. Many buyers don't notice until much later. When the sole starts separating too soon. When the leather cracks earlier than expected. When repairs are no longer even possible, that's when the reality becomes clear. Price alone no longer guarantees quality. Today, you have to look deeper. Who owns the brand and when it changed, where the leather comes from, and who supplies it. What materials are actually used inside? Ignore the unboxing videos and early impressions. Focus on long-term reviews after real use. A product can look perfect on day one, but time reveals the truth behind it. And the best source of truth is not marketing. It's the people who repair these products. Cobblers see what brands try to hide. They judge construction, not storytelling. The brand's worth your money. Welcome that scrutiny. They show their process and stand behind their work. They don't rely on history alone. They prove their value in the present. Others rely on legacy while cutting corners, charging premium prices for average quality. Now you know how to tell the difference and what to look for before you buy.